I had 31 ducks this year. I have, what number is this guy? This guy's number 29. So I've only got 2 more to do. There's a lot of ways to do this. I kind of go back and forth between like whatever my mood is. Sometimes I take the breasts off first, sometimes the legs. I'm feeling like legs first today. There is no wrong way. Either way is good. You could even take breasts and legs off and then eviscerate them. Just a different way to do it. You just have to have a little bit more knowledge of where your organs are inside and make sure you're not stabbing anything, especially as you go through removing the breasts and the legs at the joints down here and up by the wishbone. Okay. Breast, and you can get a finger in here and see like that's where the breast ends and here's where the leg is. There's like a negative space in here, kind of a natural seam. Am I staying in the camera? Yes. I'm going to use chef's knife. I'm going to make a cut kind of on an angle that follows that finger line that I was showing, and the meat on the leg is going to go pretty far, like the thigh meat, like a cape feather, tough little cape feather. Guys are nasty, really tough. So the meat on the thigh goes all the way down here. So you can kind of see this angle that I'm folding it at. You're actually gonna go that far forward towards the shoulder to take the whole thigh off. So I'm just gonna release a little bit of the skin. And then here's our pelvis or pelvic bone. And I'm gonna take this skin and I'm gonna follow just on the inside between the pelvis and the leg. You see I just kind of released some connective tissue here, and you can start to see the meat. And manipulating the duck is totally cool. You move it around as much as you need to so you can see where you're going. I'm trying to hug the body so I don't take off any meat. And down here there's a really awesome oyster of meat that you want to make sure that you stay close to the body and get that oyster of meat. And so you can start to have a visual of like where we're going. From here, once you've got this much meat, so much thigh and leg exposed, we can dislocate the joint. So now you really see what you've got here, and it's easy to get to the bottom and take off the whole thing. And what I do, I just flipped it on its side. So I'm just following the seam, following the meat and the skin, following the bones. Because we want as much skin as we can get to have a nice full leg. And this is probably too much skin, which is okay with me, because then I can always trim off like excess and I can render that, or I can do something with it. These will pop out no problem with some boning tweezers or fish boning tweezers. All right, so here's the leg. Here we go. Set you aside for later. What was that? Stuff. Get off my finger. All right, now the other side. Let's see, do I want to do this? This is a weird camera angle because I really want to be on this side. I'm going to move the camera. All right, here we are. We got camera 2 over here so that we get a good view of where I'm going here. So same kind of thing. We want to figure out like where is that seam that separates the breast and the leg. And it's right about there. Cut through the skin here. Once you get it opened up a little bit, you can go down and follow like this pelvis bone, and you can work your way forward towards to the hip socket, just so you can see where you're going. And you can dislocate it from here, and then we can cut skin. And we can really open it up. And this is probably a better view of that oyster I was talking about. There's like a nice chunk of meat right down here along the bone structure. We want that. Where is that hip bone? There it is. And you can see how far the meat goes up towards the shoulder here. I mean, armpit, end of the thigh. Pretty high, huh? And then everything's exposed here. I'm gonna pick, man, my camera angle. I'm gonna stay with it. I'm working at angles that I wouldn't naturally use, but I know it's kind of dark on this side now. And then there's a good chunk of meat up here. We want to make sure that we don't lose that also. So you see that nice chunk of meat? Everything is food. Use it all as much as you possibly can. And then here's our other leg. Little feather. Lots of skin on this guy. Big pin feather came out here. He's actually bleeding on that one. Underdeveloped feather. Okay, he's gonna go with his amigo. Let's do breast. And while I have this camera too over here, I'll start on the opposite side. I always start left, my left, but we'll do this different. Maybe I'll get rid of this neck too. Just give it a whack. Actually, two chops. If there are any little feathery bits on here, we're gonna wash bones before we make stock, so it's okay, no worries. Okay, arms, shoulders. There's a breastplate here, and I'm gonna, if you feel it, you can feel the bone structure. It goes all the way down, and then you can feel like it splits off over here, splits off over here. We wanna follow just right next to the bone, all the way down to the shoulder, and we're gonna peel the breast off. I'm gonna release some skin up here, just get going. All right, so going inside the right side, I guess. I could be using a boning knife, but chef's knife is okay. And then once you get down here, there's like a stopping point. Like here's our wishbone, and we can release the rest of this skin. And you can get a finger in here. You can see there's our tender. We want to take that tender with us. Remember, fingers are good tools. And then I'm going to follow basically the collarbone, the wishbone, all the way down to the shoulder. If you're breaking down a fish, you'd want to take long, smooth strokes with the blade. Here, it's cool if you're a little bit choppy. It's not a problem. And here's our shoulder joint. So you can see how it came all the way down to the shoulder. I'm trying to hug the rib cage here. Make sure we get all the meat. And make sure you got the tool that you want. You want a boning knife? Do you want a chef's knife? What's good for you? So a pretty clean rib cage. I wouldn't expect it to be much cleaner than that. Even got like a piece of shoulder meat from the other side. All right, once we get down here, here's our shoulder. It's kind of in our way. We're gonna go around it. See, now here's our wing. And there's more of the breast. And that's it. That is the whole breast right there. This is a big breast. But this guy weighs 15 or 16 ounces. There's a good amount of skin on here. He is fully covered. I like that. So when I go to score it and render it, we've got lots of crispy skin on our finished product. But there's a little bit of stuff over here that we can trim off. There's blood supply that goes into the breast from here, into the wing. So I'm gonna just use a boning knife. Remove some of that connective tissue. There's a really nice piece of fat right here that I'm going to save for rendering. And then there's a lot of skin at the top, probably more than I need. So I'm gonna take a little bit of that off. Because although skin is good, and when you get to the plate, this is probably a little too much. Render that. And then clean up the bottom a little bit. There's a little bit of silver skin here. Sometimes I trim it now, sometimes I just leave it and I'll take care of it after I defrost these guys, because they'll get cryovac and frozen. But I'm taking it off right now, so whatever's good. All right, there we go. Breast with a nice big tender on it. The tenders make great snacks while you're cooking. Really not going to be much work to do to clean this up. Maybe there's a little pin feather right there. Easy. So that guy's going with the legs. All right, camera. Let's put you on the other side. All right, let's get this other breast. You can set the arms out to the side just so you have like a base of support. This is easy now because you already can see where the bone is. You can even pull some of the skin back a little bit like this, so you have a really clear landmark of where is the bone and what am I doing here. So in tight along the bone, down to the bottom to the breastplate, and then follow that wishbone down, down, down. And if you kind of push through it, that's okay, because there is an empty space where you can actually push through into the body. So that can be kind of a landmark also that you've gotten through all of the meat and you are hugging the bone as much as you can. So just following along, releasing all the meat. You can kind of let gravity pull it with you or pull it for you. Go slow, no rush. And I'm down to the shoulder, and I'm gonna take some of the skin so I can see where the wing is, the drumette. And now here we are, I'm going back under the shoulder to take this whole breast off. A lot of connective tissue right there. Okay, we got carcass, breast. This one feels heavier than the other one. And same as the other one, I've got a little bit of excess up there, maybe a little bit down here. I always rather leave a little bit more than less, because then when you cook it, you got lots of crispy skin. It's the best part. And this, same thing, I'm gonna remove all this junk, because that's not gonna eat good if we leave it on. And you can kind of pull it away so you see where you're removing skin. What is this? What have I got? Skin, fat, a little bit of meat. And I'll save that for rendering. Got a nice pile of fat. And then we've got a nice chunk of silver skin. This does not eat good. Make sure you take this off. Whenever you do take it off, this has to happen. There we go. Okay, breast, little cape feather. Don't like those guys. And this guy, easy cleanup on him too. You'll see later. Okay, I just gave these guys a quick rinse. I'll pat them off a little bit here. So really pretty duck breasts. Fowl plucker does a really good job on the breasts and the legs. If you time the feathers right, you're pretty much done here. A little bit of minor work for tomorrow. So I'm going to pack these guys up. Tomorrow we'll go through just a little bit of quick tune-up with removing these little bits of, there's so much skin on here. You could just trim this off and throw it, with the fat after you get those little feathers off. These pop off super easy. Anyway, that is it for today. We are done. We're done for today, but there's stock to make, fat to render, breasts to cook, legs to confit, livers and hearts to eat. So much food here. But that's it for today.